So, I've been thinking about a few things here. And sometimes we hear things and we listen to the words and we go, yeah, probably makes sense. But do we always pause to assimilate? Do we pause to assimilate the meaning behind what we hear? Like we hear, we're looking for what we already have. And it sounds pretty, but how do we take that in? We're looking for what we already have. How can we look for what we already have? And we say, well, I'm looking for healing. Okay. Well, I wouldn't be looking for healing if I had it. Maybe. Or maybe it's what we allow ourselves to recognize, that we are the healing. Maybe that is what's been missing. Maybe when we recognize that in oneness, we're oneness with everything, maybe that's what's been missing. Now, what's brought that to my mind a little bit? Pardon me while I move my cup of tea to someplace more easily accessible. It kind of came to me. This is how it looks, and this is what it means. This is how it looks, and this is what it means. Well, how did that show up for me, and how might that show up for a lot of us in different ways? For me, when reconnective healing first showed up, when I was wise enough to not have even attached a name to it, it showed up in the way that there was it and there was me. It showed up in a way that there was it and there was me. Was that for real? Was it that all of a sudden, one day, reconnective healing showed up, decided to come through my hands, tap me on the shoulders, say hello, there it was, there I was following it was talking to me. That's the way it appeared. It appears that there's a desk over on that side of the room and a chair over on that side of the room. And so I started speaking of it that way. I started talking about it as the way it looked. It came in, I followed it, it followed me, it brought about these healings. There was healing over there, and me over here, and this over there. The kind of a duality perspective that, we're pretty much all raised with. And yet, in that consciousness, where is the oneness? In that consciousness, we are still in otherness. We are still in separation, which brings about fear and distance and so many illusions in which we live. So, this is how it looks. This is what it means. When we recognize that we are all one, when we recognize that, really, on the inside, there's no separation from people. There's no separation from what we even look at as things. There is simply the knowingness of who we are. There's no longer, as Svalbard says, the illusion of limitation. So today, as we've been doing, we're going to take a few minutes and we're going to receive. And yes, I see, already the people wanting to be in the request box for us to speak and interact with, and we'll do that after we allow ourselves to be the receivers that we innately, naturally are, to be receiving the energy, the light, the information, the infinite that we already are. That is reconnective healing. So in this experience we're about to have, I want you to sensations. I want you to observe. I want you to notice where you're observing, where you're feeling, how you're observing, how you're feeling, if you're feeling. Just notice, observe, witness, be without directing, without sending. And what is your sense? Notice and see if you're observing. Well, I'll talk to you about this afterwards, this next point, okay? Right now, simply receive. If you're saying, I don't know how to receive, well, say, but if I did know how to receive, it might be like this. But it's without any doingness. So let's let go of the dramatic concepts of I'm going to throw my hands into the sky and receive from the heavens. Let the drama go. When we're hearing, even if you're hearing my words, you're receiving. If you're listening to music, you're receiving. If you're feeling something, you're receiving, because we are receivers by nature. Now, when we're at a concert we're enjoying, for example, we don't then try to send the music to someone else who isn't there. They can listen if they want. They could be there if they want. Instead of sending, we want to receive. Now, here comes the difference. That was the way I used to look at it. They and us. How about as we receive, when we recognize that we are one, we all receive. It is this recognition that is our healing. It is through this recognition that we receive our healing, and ultimately that we recognize that we are healing. So it could sound a little out there. And what does this have to do with healing? Everything. Everything. So receive. If you're tempted to send this healing to someone you love, realize that your receiving is their receiving, and your sending is an interference from your receiving and inhibits their receiving. So it becomes the opposite of what we're looking for. Let go, receive. Here we are, 3 minutes, silence. Observe. receive. Now, while you're receiving, again, notice the sensation. Notice what you may feel, or observe how you may feel, or observe. Ultimately, notice the silence. Is there a sense of peace? Did you add that peace? Or did you discover it as everything that was not you fell away? Is there a sense of love? Is that love something that you added? Or something you discovered as you allowed everything else in the energy, light, and information in this reconnective healing experience, as you allowed everything else to fall away as the love, then what became unobscured and showed itself? Is there a sense of happiness? Did you come and add the happiness? Or did you simply notice it as with the vibrations and the frequencies of the energy, light, and information, everything else just vibrated out of the picture so that you could discover that happiness? Peace, love, happiness, oneness, unity, healing. Do you add them? Can you chase them? Can you find them? Do they exist independently? Or are they a part of you that has always been? The infinite you that sometimes we just don't allow ourselves to see because it becomes obscured by everything that isn't you. This is what falls away during the reconnective healing experience. It's the glimpse of who we are that opens us up for an infinite experience of more glimpsing our infinite.